Hey guys, and welcome to my channel, Time is But a Window. Now there are three main topics in this video that I'm going to be going over. First is hardware ID bans, followed by Vacnet, and we're going to be finishing it off with how Valve should handle Overwatch. So first up, let's talk about hardware ID bans. Now recently there's been a rumor that CSGO has implemented hardware ID bans. Now sadly, this is completely false. And I know what you're thinking. You've seen videos of cheaters claiming that they got hardware ID banned with video proof. They're all fake. For those of you guys that don't know what a hardware ID ban is, let me explain. Every component in your computer has its own individual ID. The anti-cheat can take all of those ID numbers and combine them into one ID that counts as your computer. That way, if you got banned, and even if you connected with a different account, you'd still be banned because it would be detecting your computer's number that was assigned to it. On the other hand, you could use that new account on a different computer and be completely fine. Keep in mind, not all hardware bans are equal. Some will only take the component of one thing, like your motherboard, whereas others will have your MAC address, your motherboard, your graphics card, and maybe other components. I've even heard of some that take your Windows serial number as well, so all you'd have to do to get past the ban is reinstall Windows with a different serial number. And that right there is kind of the downside of hardware ID ban. All you have to do is change out one part that combines to your overall computer number, and you can technically get around it. But while it's not a permanent solution, it is a pretty effective one because it costs so much money to replace computer parts. That is, unless the cheater knows how to spoof his computer ID, which you can apparently do. Basically, this is a hack that makes the anti-cheat program think that you're using a different computer ID. But how did this rumor even get started, you may ask? It seems that when the last major update came out and they not only made the game free to play but also added the Battle Royale mode, some people started to assume that maybe Valve was setting a trap for cheaters. After all, Fortnite uses hardware ID bans and they are a Battle Royale game, so why not Counter-Strike? Honestly, I believe it's because they don't want to make a program that's overly invasive. After all, that's the reason the ESEA client is so much better at catching cheaters than Vac. And I know what you're thinking, but Valve has Vacnet! Though I think a lot of people are really confused about exactly what Vacnet does. There's a confusion between what Vacnet does currently and what people think it does. First of all, it does not just outright ban people. Instead, what it does is analyze data of someone playing and then sends it to Overwatch for an Overwatcher to determine. Basically, it's a symbiotic relationship between humans and deep learning, but it's also quite limited in what it's good at. For one, it's not good at determining subtle cheats. And in case you were wondering, wall hacks are considered a subtle cheat. What its current primary objective is determining aimbots and, of course, anti-aims. If somebody's 360ing around the freaking map shooting everyone in the face, it'll figure that one out pretty quick. But if someone knows the map pretty well and has straight-on blatant wall hacks, it'll be like, that guy looks good. Now, it is adding more and more variables, and because it is a deep learning system, it is constantly learning from the Overwatches that players do. And as the cycle learns, the cases should become more dynamic because it'll start learning from these edge cases that it's not quite sure on. The problem, however, is that humans are an imperfect system and they deviate greatly from one to another. I mean, let's be honest, we deviate from 1 minute to the next. 1 minute we might be on fire, the next minute we might be cold as ice. And that's just a single individual. I mean, one person might have a reaction time of 100 milliseconds, whereas someone else might have a reaction time of 300 milliseconds. I mean, have you ever kicked someone stoned out on Flocka only to see them react about 2 minutes later? Yeah, me neither, because those guys are scary. They will literally eat you. But the point remains, human variance is far too great to not risk accidental bans. And I don't just mean with mechanical skills like aim and reaction time. How many people out there still think that Flusha cheated at one point? And maybe he did, I'm not saying that he didn't, but that's kind of the point. There's too many different facets of the game, and you don't have to be an expert at all facets to be a top-level player. And because of that, it makes you wonder if Vacnet would ever be trained well enough that we could actually just let it straight up ban people. My thoughts are surely they could at least ban the straight up rage hackers without having to send them to Overwatch first. You know what I'm talking about, the ones that are staring at the freaking ground and still shooting everyone in the freaking head with instant flicks. That should be detectable. Not only detectable, but detectable 100% of the time. And honestly, I would love it if Vacnet just started straight up banning those accounts and hope that Valve moves towards that future. But on the other hand, when it comes to more subtle cheats, I definitely think it's gonna always have to go through Overwatch. I mean, you and me can clearly watch this game and see that it's a guy using a wall hack and an aimbot in the background here. But I think people put far too much faith in Vacnet being able to detect games this simple. And one of the reasons is because his aim is inconsistent. Sometimes it looks like he's trying to aim naturally, and sometimes it looks like he's hitting a toggle key, which in this specific case, he completely is. And while as humans we can see this clear as day, Vacnet, on the other hand, can't tell if he's just having a couple lucky shots here and there. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. What is the point of this entire conversation? And I'm about to get to that right now. As you guys know, the game has recently gone free to play, and because of this, we have had a massive surge in the amount of not only players, but people cheating. Now, I know a lot of you guys are already starting to type about Prime and trust factor, and we're going to go into that a little bit later. But first, I want to get your heads around something. Overwatch deals with cases that are not only Prime, but also non-Prime. And right now, there are probably more Prime counts than non-Prime. But that's going to change eventually. And given the game is now free to play, more and more people are going to download the game and start playing, which is great for the growth of Counter-Strike. But it's also horrible because a large percentage of them are going to be cheating as well. So what does this mean for Overwatch? Well, while right now I feel like a lot of the cases we get are pretty mixed. Some of them are from Prime, some of them are from non-Prime. Eventually the majority of them will be coming in from non-Prime. But since the game is free to play in non-Prime, are we really punishing them because they just have to make a new account, download the game again, and come play again? The barrier for entry is pretty much 15 minutes to make a new account and download the game again. Which means that every Overwatch case I get that's non-Prime, which I'll never find out if it is Prime or isn't Prime, is pretty much a waste of my time. Now don't get it wrong, you can still make a free account Prime if you get up to level 21, and I think you also have to tie it to a phone number if you go that route. On the other hand, you can always buy Prime if you just pay $15. If you do pay $15, you don't have to tie it to a phone number, but you end up having to spend real money, which will cause a lot of cheaters to think twice before actually doing it, because why spend money if they can just play it for free? And because it is free, I actually think a lot of cheaters who originally did pay for the game, once their accounts, their Prime accounts, get banned, they're just going to play the free version of it because they can still play Counter-Strike and rage hack their asses off. And while I know several cheaters are still going to go Prime, I'm still thinking the majority of them are going to stay in free-to-play, and by this point next year, free-to-play will probably be a complete shit show. I know a lot of people already think it is, but I mean, we're talking like 4 out of 5 people in every game probably cheating. And because of that fact alone and how many people are going to be playing in the free-to-play mode, most of my Overwatches are going to be just policing the free-to-play mode that doesn't matter in the first place because they're just going to remake new accounts. I know I'm sounding redundant at this point, but trust me, there's a point to it. I feel like this situation presents us with a pretty interesting opportunity. So if you know anyone from Valve, please get them to listen to this part of the video. I feel like Overwatch should stop policing free-to-play accounts. Instead, it should only police Prime accounts. The rate of cheaters being introduced to Prime is going to be far lower than the rate of cheaters being introduced to free-to-play. And since the majority of players that actually care about the game are going to be playing Prime, they might as well get the better experience. And keep in mind, I'm talking about the future of this game. I'm not talking about right now. I know there's a ton of people in Prime that are cheating because a lot of accounts that were previously non-Prime have been moved over to Prime. And yeah, those accounts do not need to be tied to phone numbers. I feel like this would give us a really nice chance to try to clean up Prime and keep the cheaters as low as possible. That being said, I feel like Vacnet should have free reign over non-Prime. After all, those are free accounts, and the majority of those are going to be cheating accounts anyways. So worst case scenario, a legitimate player gets banned from a free account and can just get another free account. Then again, skins might be involved, and you guys know how pricey skins can be. And I know how controversial this part of it is going to be, because honestly, I'm not really sure what to do about the entire free-to-play model. I think it kind of made the barrier for entry too low, and it made it so that a game which is already rampant with cheaters is just going to be completely oversaturated by them. Or, you know, Valve could introduce a hardware ID ban system. That would be pretty cool. Do it, Valve. Do it. But right now, Overwatch is in a pretty weird spot because banning non-Prime accounts is almost like not banning anyone at all. They're just gonna get another account for free and then rage hack again. Meanwhile, we have to look at Prime more dynamically. While right now we're still getting a fair amount of accounts from Prime games, after a while it's going to be completely overrun by games that are non-Prime. And that gives us a really messed up problem. So while there's going to be tons and tons of cheating accounts in non-Prime, a few of them are going to eventually level up to 21 and maybe make their account Prime, and some are just going to outright buy Prime accounts, especially ones that are trying to hide their cheats. Now this means the overall percentage of cheaters in Prime is bound to go up because most of the Overwatch cases are going to be dealing with non-Prime accounts. It'll be a situation similar to this. Let's say 20 cheating accounts come into Prime every day, but only 2 of those accounts go to Overwatch every day. Meanwhile, the majority of cases are actually coming from all of the people in non-prime. I hope I explained that okay, because I struggled like hell trying to find a way to actually explain that. So given this, that means that Overwatch isn't going to be able to keep up with the amount of cheaters coming in total, specifically from non-prime. This means that due to the sheer number of cheaters in non-prime, the odds of getting a prime case are so low that the amount of cheaters in prime is just going to steadily grow and grow without getting caught, which in turn means that you have a higher percentage of a chance of getting a cheater in one of your games. Now, I know what you're thinking, but what about trust factor? Won't trust factor keep cheaters out of my games? Well, honestly, trust factor is far from a perfect system. One of the biggest factors in trust factor is how frequently you get reported for cheating, especially when you're someone that tends to top frag or has an exceptional ability. And I can't even tell you how many times I've reported someone on the other team thinking they were the one cheating, only to watch the demo and go through every individual player to find out he was legitimate and someone else on his team was actually cheating. After all, it only takes one person on the other team to be cheating to make it feel like something's weird and something's off during that game. And it's only natural to assume the person that's getting the most kills is the one that's using the advantage. Couple that with the ever-increasing number of cheaters that are going to be in prime, and getting a cheater is unavoidable, no matter how good your trust factor standings are. It's just a game of numbers. Anyways, guys, I've been wanting to talk about this since the game went free to play. I'm glad I had a chance to do so. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and have a great day as always.